Good morning, YouTube. Today is September 19th, 2016. My name is Benjamin Calvin, and let's get the news out of the way so that you can get about your day. This is the morning briefing. Our top stories of the day were the attacks that happened in New York City, New Jersey, and Minnesota. ISIS media director claimed responsibility for the stabbing attack in Minnesota, which injured 8 people. Nobody was killed. Governor Cuomo says attacks in New York City and New Jersey that injured the 29 people were obviously an act of terrorism in his own words. The victims of the bombing have already left the hospital. Nobody was killed. The explosion in New Jersey also resulted in no injuries and no fatalities. The bomb was placed along a Marine Corps 5K route. Russian-American coalition in Syria is possibly in jeopardy. America claims Russia is not cooperating with the ceasefire. The American airstrike that happened over the weekend killed 62 Syrian military troops. Russia claims that the airstrike which killed the Syrian military troops is evidence of America's sympathy towards ISIS, in their own words. The coalition was proposed so that countries could assist each other in attacks on ISIS, and the recent events seem to be putting this coalition in jeopardy. Let's go to the Americas. Brazil's former president was hit with corruption charges over the weekend in connection to a money laundering scheme. Former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva denies any involvement in the money laundering. The Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte extends his war on drugs in his country. The United States and United Nations have expressed concern in the campaign along with other human rights watchdog groups. Under Duterte's campaign, more than 3,000 suspected drug dealers and traffickers have been killed. Move over to Europe. Voting has ended in the Russian parliamentary poll. There were protests over the weekend in Ukraine, specifically in Kiev, over Crimea's inclusion in the poll. There were also fears of corruption in this poll due to the parliament's sympathy towards their President Putin. Tens of thousands of protesters took to the streets in Germany to oppose a transatlantic TTIP trade deal with America and Canada. Speaking of Germany, there will be tightened security at this year's Oktoberfest over fears of terrorism. Also in Europe, Turkey stopped 137 migrants from crossing the coastline into the Greek Isles. Move over to the Middle East. The United Nations condemns Syria for blocking access to Aleppo. The Syrian military, in response to this, withdrew from the road to the city of Aleppo, allowing the United Nations convoys to enter the city and provide assistance to the people living there. The United States and Iraqi troops are closing in on Mosul, only about 40 miles away. The ISIS forces in a retreat lit oil fields on fire to slow down the coalition's advance towards the city of Mosul in Iraq. This will be the last ISIS-held city in that country. Estimates from Colonel John Doreen, the spokesman for Operation Inherent Resolve, say that there are between 3,000 and 4,500 ISIS fighters in the city of Mosul. In Asia, following a test of a nuclear weapon by North Korea, the United States flew 2 bombers over South Korea as a display of solidarity. In response to this, the North Korean foreign minister said, quote, "The people of Korea are ready to stage another attack against the provocations of the United States." Those are your top stories from around the world this morning. I thank you for watching. All of these stories can be read in further detail in the links down below. You can follow me on Twitter at ArmedPlatypus, link in the description, where you can suggest stories and topics I should cover in my videos. I want to thank everybody for watching. This has been your briefing for September 19th, 2016, and I will see you on Wednesday.